Inside Story Uganda. Real source of political updates.
In 2021 and lost. You have, until otherwise, lost the Kawempe slot. Are your political fortunes dimming?
No. In 2021, I stood for Kampala Woman MP. I was second to Noop Shamim Malende. By the way, I'm told she's unwell. I wish her to get well soon. I don't know whether she's hospitalized, but that's the news I'm getting. I got 96,000 votes. Actually, if you divide that by the 9 constituencies, I think it totals to the 9,000 something. I don't know. Do the math. But yes, the votes, even as we speak, that I have today, give me hope. I will run again in 2026 for the same position in Kawempe North constituency.
Thank you. Honorable Muwanga Kivumbi, the late Honorable Segirinya garnered 41,000 votes in 2021. When Noop fielded Nalukola this time, you got 17,000. Do you read the writing on the wall?
Have you looked at the percentage?
The turnout?
No, percentage.
The turnout is about 13%.
No, percentage of what the late Segirinya got in that general election. He got 68% of the vote. We were nearly there. If the Kazangola and Mbogo had not been tampered with, I can assure you, would have gone. Because there are polling stations where NRA don't want to say Nambi, where NRM got a 0.
That's why they destroyed material.
Got a 0. A 0 on a polling station, and you have no, even your agent did not vote
seems
for
to
you.
Disagree.
No, I'm aware. She's aware. Even the polling, I'm aware of a polling station.
Like even your polling agent does not vote for you.
Where he scored a 0. It's there. I was.
Honorable Nambi, do you have it on your DR form? Are there places where you scored 0?
Absolutely not.
I can tell you.
Absolutely
where she scored
and
a 0.
I'll wait for him to.
By the way, on average, I was calculating average vote per polling station was about between 28 and 32, except where your ballot stopped.
Come on.
Okay. I know. I've done this analysis.
Assuming Mbogo and Kazangola had been added, would it have
I
put
can
you?
assure you, if they had added those 2 centers, you would have been speaking about 80%. Because I've told you, have votes on average between 28 and 32. She can calculate. We've done this analysis. You average between, we are getting 16, 20 something, 22, even actually, wherever she could score above 50 votes, we would quickly look into the DR form to say what has happened.
You must be telling lies.
And she knows.
Comfortable.
No, she knows.
No.
The only criteria we are using to detect fraud is above 50. When you see,
No.
I'm telling you the truth that happened.
No.
I can display for you the voters register.
Absolutely
That's what
not.
it is. Even your numbers,
You see.
something I never wanted to say on camera here. Even the numbers you boost 700 is because we later on said, okay, we've known you've cheated us, we have won. Add that cheating, and she runs.
Okay, when you tally genuinely, what do your forms tell you? What does your mathematics tell you about her votes?
Who? Her votes? I've told you, Simon. Just go and just go back and look at those voters.
You think she got a less?
She was between average vote was 28 to 30.
No.
Per polling station.
No.
There's that much I know. Where you find 700.
So what does it add up to?
Even thinking about
in your tallies, what does?
No,
that's what you can do, by the way. I'm being honest with you.
No. How can you make that stack across the 197?
Yes, your average vote is
cannot be true.
Between 28 and 32.
That cannot be true.
Okay.
Except where she gathers 400,
That's
700,
not true. That's
where they add zeros. But in an honest...
Faridah,
Have
Do
you
you
analyzed
think
your
you
voters'
performed-
register? Have you actually?
Do you think you performed well? You performed better than...
I think I performed well.
No, I've told you.
And we have the DR forms.
You can go for your DRR forms. If they have given you true DRR forms,
Official declaration.
go for the official declaration. Have courtesy, go to NUP headquarters, share
That's
the
it.
authentic DRR forms. Maybe they've given you the fake ones. Your average score, we've looked at this number, was between 28 and 32.
Thank you. Honorable Mbidde, does the math tell you anything? The turnout, in our estimation, was about 13%.
Yeah, of course, that achievement was the subject of intimidation. If from nomination your candidate is being frog matched, people have lost it, because you see, it had reached a time where sense no longer makes sense in Kawempe North. And you see, voters had become, you see, the running battles with the police, with the army, with the JAT, with the entities. They are actually brigades. They were substantial brigades, a multiplicity of attacks, and each and all and sundry. Who can now have an investment into a possibility that your vote will interpret into victory for your preference? It was impossible. So that is what interpreted into the voter apathy in Kawempe North. That people no longer thought that voting was an answer.
Okay, does it send signals to 2026?
Of course, it is a template. We are lawyers. Gone are the days when we would start, we redraft sale agreements, for example, because the laws are the same. The Republic of Uganda is the same. The grounds are everything is the same. So we use a template so that all we deal with is the particulars of names, description of land. The template that is going to be used and utilized in the 2026 election is Kawempe North. It is just out.
Thank you. And I want to tell our online viewers that we're coming live to you on Afro Mobile. In the next few minutes, we'll still be continuing on Afro Mobile. Dr. Sarah Birete, let's talk about the maths. What do you read from the turnout and the tallies?
Well, I think that broadly the force that NRM used, backed up by UPDF, which acts as a militia of the party during elections instead of being a national army. The NRM was, racing to win as symbolism to win election in Kampala, given how they lost Buganda in 2021. So they wanted to show that they are making a comeback. And it's no wonder that after elections, Kawempe, then I saw a group of NRM trying to launch a rally with a comeback, I think somewhere in Chiboga. So that was the plan, to show that they can claim or reclaim Kampala, win a seat in Kampala, and reclaim Buganda. And so when that failed, immediately after Kawempe, they are launching some rallies in Buganda to reclaim Buganda. So that drove the weight of violence, the show of might. The numbers show the actual political position on ground. And I think if voter suppression had not happened through the acts of the security agencies, NRM maybe even the 32 average polling station, I think even that would have failed. Because, truth be told, Kawempe is somehow a neglected constituency in terms of service delivery. We saw the shortage of water all over during campaigns. People are looking for where to fetch water. It has many parts of slum areas. It has high levels of uneducated young people. So what is the reason of rewarding a 40-year-old regime?
Again,
if you are a resident of Kawempe?
Sarah, do you think the opposition is picking any lessons from Kawempe? Or in any case, what should they read?
I think the Ugandans largely, the lesson they pick from Kawempe is that the power of the people is mightier than the army. And the numbers can overwhelm military might that now NRM is relying on, because NRM has remained with the two cards to their chest, the money and violence, and they control the tools of violence, especially UPDF. So if the people can defeat those two cards to their chest, money and violence, then NRM will be out of power.
Honorable Nambi, there is a claim that you pumped billions into this campaign and you went door to door. There's actually a video where you're dishing out 50,000 notes. What do you think of this?
That's absolutely not true. I was giving out flyers. Absolutely not true. Of course, we were oriented. No. Yeah. No. Listen to me. First of all, I can't even do that. However way you want to look at it. So that's absolutely not true that I was giving out money. And I hope you don't use that against me in court. That is absolutely not true.
Did you see that video?
Now,
that TikTok video?
Of course, it came back to me. I saw it, and those that were there knew. I can't. If I were to give out money, why would I give it out even in public if I were to give it out? It is true that I largely used the door-to-door approach where I would find people in their homes and in their workplaces. This was calculated to...
So for it to impose itself on a population, it wants a subjugated population that fears it, properly intimidated, and that's what they are doing. So the Kawempe kind of what we saw in Kawempe is for a regime that has admitted inherently that it has lost it, but wants to reinvent itself through fear, and they think the people will give up. Actually, Kawempe should inspire Ugandans and all democratic-seeking forces that it is possible even to overcome the ultimate force of NRM, which is UPDF. Because ultimately, in every election, we've been beaten by various militias. Me and Mbidde at one time were beaten bitterly by Kakoza Mutale, called Kalanga Action Plan. The guy would move with the band openly with the sticks and was beating people. The other day it was Tumukunde and his group. The other time it was Kare. Then there was the Chiboko squad. When General Katumba Wamala, by the way, was the IGP. You remember we were first beaten by Chiboko squad when General Katumba Wamala was the IGP. I may not even remember that General Katumba Wamala was at one time an IGP. When the Chiboko squad and a group by Utoda, and we know these characters, and I can tell you, Nambi, I even now know where they got the thugs from. I can even tell you, I know them, where they go. These thugs that beat up people in Kawempe, they should also don't think they are beyond reach.
You should warm up to the inquiry.
No, what I'm saying, we know who bought them and who did what and where they got those thugs from. So, today, they are now attempting, through a machination of fear of General Moses Kainerugaba, that now you can commandeer the UPDF to
overrun polling stations.
To overrun polling stations, to do what it does. But the people of Kawempe demonstrated that amidst, they attempted massive ballot stuffing. Can you imagine?
In whose favor?
Can you imagine? No, this one we proved to the Electoral Commission. Can you imagine where my sister got 70 votes? They would add a 0 and give us 700. There is no polling station in Kawempe where 700 people voted. Even there is no polling station where even about 400 people voted on one polling station. But at
were those machinations of
machinations
NRM agents or the Electoral Commission?
We had a real declaration form. There is where she got 40. They added a 0 and she got 500. I can demonstrate. I can even give you the polling station. There is where she got 32 and she got 320. I'm telling you. So the 9,000 she talks about is impossible. You performed worse than what you imagine you did. We're at the Tare Center. At the Tare Center, we demonstrated a proper declaration form.
Yeah.
And the Electoral Commission, by people on TV, were putting those disputed declaration forms aside. So it was so ugly for you to be. My view is, my sister, simply let the people who want to run this thing run away from it.
Honorable,
as Mbidde has advised you,
how are you
will
consuming?
not turn a tree into a walking stick.
Honorable Nambi, how are you consuming all the allegations?
I want to ask
towards
Honorable Kivumbi, if, for instance, in Butambala, where you voted from, people vandalize election materials, would you call that a free and fair election?
But can I tell you,
where exactly you voted
you want
from?
me to tell you the truth? Yeah. You had lost miserably at Kazangola and at Mbogo.
But how come I have different results?
Where did you get the results?
So,
Which
so
were
do you want to suggest that even the 7,000 is blotted?
It's
No,
blotted.
no, it
Even
can't
she
be
doesn't
blotted.
have it. Is impossible.
You see,
We know the story that I will not tell here.
Simon.
Just a second, let's hear from Honorable Nambi.
basically what I want to tell Honorable Kivumbi, that the mere fact that electoral materials were destroyed at where I voted from, that's an injustice on us as candidates. Not only me, but also my second candidate I talk about.
Even Narukole.
If you want to join the seeking of electoral reforms as we move forward, it will benefit all candidates that want to vie for elections, and it will help us seek justice, because you're going to be able to present this what you say you have to the courts.
But I was at a Tare Center. You know, now
Which Tare Center? Kazangola?
No, I was at Tare Center in Makerere.
Now, how do you distribute this?
Let me just for once tell you. You see, the calculation was in Kivumbi North constituency. If we win at Mbogo had several polling stations.
There were 6.
Yeah, there were 6.
There were
and
6.
you win at Kazangola,
Yeah.
you are as good as having your home and dry. Now, what they tried to do, they knew they had lost miserably on those two polling centers.
I
They are not polling
disagree.
stations. You
Honorable
had lost
Kivumbi.
miserably. And they thought they had successfully about staffed outside those polling stations. So they disrupted this. Also, it was also an accountability on some people.
Legally speaking, I'll engage, just a second, I'll get back to you. Legally speaking, is there a possibility of a by-election given the time frame within which we have to elections?
There is no possibility.
No, 6 months to vote to a general election, there is no by-election.
It is not there. But this is,
so what
frankly,
would be the scenario?
This is what the NRM is trying to do. And let us speak frankly. First of all, the national resistance movement had taken an innuendo decision at never allowing a by-election in Uganda. Yeah. That influenced by a system of puppetry that even ran up to even judicial centers. It influenced a negative possibility of any election petition being won.
Success,
Yeah.
There was no successful election petition because government did not want, fearing that the NUP would use it as a catapult process back towards the opinion polls that would send them up. Only God delivered a by-election in Kivumbi North. So the template was pulled out that is going to be used in the 2026 elections of violence, unleashing of militias, and it had become so filthy, it is so bad, both in the local and international eyes, that the NRM has now choreographed a procedure that instead now turns the opposition to a defensive. You can imagine we are here now thinking that there is even a contemplated election petition. We would now be discussing and
Wait for court and see.
Dr. Sarah,
You'll be disapproved.
you know, I want you to observe the debate by Dr. Sarah. Now, that is the appropriate debate for civil society. What took place in the Kivumbi North elections? The kind of erasure of all antiques and sentiments in a free and fair election. All possibilities of freedom and fairness of an election were erased onto the ground. But now the NRM knew that this is going now to be the debate.
Yeah.
They have instead choreographed a mechanism that has now almost changed the whole debate. By the way, they are not even serious. One minister came and said, no, Jat was being commandeered by NUP. Now, let me tell you, they are not serious at what they are doing.
Honorable Nambi, do you equally find it laughable that Jat now is being associated with just a second, Honorable Nambi, how
Actually,
ridiculous can it be?
Look, I wouldn't want to follow in this issue that you're trying to say that we have no case. I want Honorable Mbidde, I invite you to all sessions of court.
I will attend. But
There are two things actually. Let me just tell you this. There are two things. There is what they call electoral crimes. These ones
Election
have
offenses.
Yes, election offenses, which have other even agencies coming out. It has coming out to present to courts. We have other parties that also have. We have other parties that have witnesses and have exhibits. Other parties other than NRM. This you're going to see.
We know them.
This you're going to see. So don't preempt and make it like as if it's a laughing story.
Honorable Nambi, which is which?
You're going to allow us to go to
Honorable
seek
Nambi,
justice.
on one part, the president is pushing for an inquiry, an independent inquiry into the election.
Who will
And on the other part, you're going to court.
These are the things we expected. We thought that on behalf of police, the police standards unit would now have commenced proceedings against certain policemen.
Yes.
We expected the court martial to have commenced now proceedings against military officers.
This is the irony.
Instead,
the guy who was beating journalists was being praised by the CDF.
But now even that debate is not arising. Instead, it is now a defensive of us contemplating. Now, petition, finally, Simon. A petition of that nature will find its way before courts of law. But there is a way we describe such petitions. And that is how judgments occur. They are vexatious, frivolous. They are presented by mere busybodies, wazoks and palokas. They are pretexts. And they cannot actually, in fact, all petitioners will be adjudged lethargic before courts of law. I can tell you, Honorable Nambi, don't be a tool.
I'm a victim.
That will take such a decision.
It's within our right. It's within our right.
I'm a victim. Yeah. Plus Councillor
And we
Masuti.
are pitying you. Because you don't even know what you are suffering from. But you're a victim by description.
I'm a victim.
But the real cause that this makes you be described as a victim is actually not the election.
Yeah, but
I'm coming to you because we just disrupted Honorable Nambi's time. Honorable, the president is seeking an inquiry, an independent inquiry into the election. You're sounding court. So which is which?
I want to refresh your mind. Last Friday, SEC, one of the NRM highest body, sat and took a decision after we presented our complaints. There were still complaints and there was evidence mounting up and there was an investigation up till today. There are different interviews that are being made by everybody within our sphere of NRM that participated on that day. Many affidavits have been got. Actually, the last I counted was 108 plus. And we have those now that are coming from security, particularly police, the election offenses. So we are patching up. But I told you for me where I get my contestation from as a candidate. So we know actually that other parties have also joined suit to say that we'll also petition. Others have even contacted some of us to say, can we join hands? But we've said, no, you join as your own party, or if you are independent, you join as an independent to also petition. What we hope for is to see that there's some kind of justice delivered or reforms that is going to benefit all other candidates that are going to go through these 2026 elections that are very close by.
Okay,
So that is my submission.
What more should we know about this investigation? Who is heading the team? Who is constituting it? Where is it going to sit?
I will not divulge those details for now, but yes, there are several submissions being done for anybody who feels who was part of the election, who participated, especially on the side of NRM.
Is it court or a commission of inquiry?
It is not court. It's not court.
So you're not going to court?
We are going to petition to the court. We are going to court, definitely, us as NRM, and this is like a formal submission. You heard the Secretary General, after SECSAT, we said that we're going to petition to the courts.
I think they are contradicting narratives. The president is talking about a commission of inquiry, and you're talking about court. Are they running concurrently?
Simon, is it the party going to court, or really are you going to court? Because you see, election petitions are clearly guided by the Act. So who is going to court?
We are going to court as NRM. We are going to court.
I have told you that will be a logical impossibility.
Okay.
Can't petition.
Dr. Sarah.
Okay, they can't petition. So you wait and see who is going to be the petitioner. Just be patient.
How painful
Just because we have various
the facts are not yet out.
We have various people that can petition. It could be campaign managers. So you wait, and kindly I've invited you to that court. You will be scandalized, and you will know that actually petitioning could be even a good thing for this country.
Dr. Sarah, how awkward or ironical is it that today courts are being turned into political theaters to resolve problems that ordinarily would look concluded?
Yeah, it will be a fishing expedition, I think, in my view, for the NRM. But many of the anomalies that happened in Kawempe by-elections can be addressed administratively. Because they were intentional, first of all. These are intentional anomalies through the UPDF, mainly. The police did inflict violence on some people. I saw a clip with the DPC in Wandegea fighting people, and a few other policemen. But the majority actors were the army. So 80% of the issues can be resolved through the Army High Command if there is willingness, and they shouldn't be pushed to Bazukuru. The president should stop pushing his executive responsibilities through letters to Bazukuru that are powerless and don't know even what should be done. 80% of the mess is military. The president needs to address the nation on why the military is disrupting electoral processes.
Do you see the will from
Then if the will is not there, they should stop playing games with citizens. They should stop, playing on the minds of the people. A president writing letters where he's supposed to be taking action. No. Citizens need to say this shouldn't happen. The other issue I want to talk about is electoral reforms. Government has intentionally refused to table electoral reforms. The last presentation I saw of the Attorney General, he was saying there is no time, he doesn't think there will be any reforms. But here we are after Kawempe, and people are talking of reforms. We have 5 months to nominations in August.
And they want to cure the anomalies.
Who didn't know about what needs to be done? We have been advocating for reforms for close to 15 years. We have a compact on free and fair elections with views collected countrywide that the government has refused to enact. So now they are telling us they want to go to court because of reforms, when we all know where reforms should be tabled and by who, but they have not. The other issue that I find really disturbing from the remarks at the General Ronda Memorial is the issue of biometric that the president repeats in the letter. Supreme Court in 2016, in the Amama Mbaba's petition, did direct that there should be regulations governing use of technology in our elections. Up to today, those regulations don't exist. 2016, it's now coming to 10 years. Government has refused to enact regulations governing use of technology in elections.
Yeah, now here is the chief executive telling you.
Yes.
He's intentional on the biometric system.
But we have lost 9 years from the time of Supreme Court directive.
But Simon, let me ask
Which executive is talking now? Isn't it the same executive that has failed?
With the analog vote, when you tick, you can check and find your tick where you have put it. With biometrics, how do you check?
No, there is a record kept in the system.
Yes, that is why the rules you are talking about should be
yes.
developed.
So the rules would specify.
There must be a proof of what you have done.
What you must use and where people find backup.
Yes.
Backup of electronic voting, backup of biometric identification that he keeps talking about.
Dr. Sarah,
yes, please.
let's tell Ugandan a truth.
The truth.
Yes. In a country where judge descends on beating people, where after nomination a candidate is literally stripped naked, where outrightly there
is no will.
So you want to engage in a debate of electoral reform.
Honorable Mbidde.
To what effect?
If I may conclude,
because for me,
just 1 minute.
For me, Sarah, the whole debate about electoral reform, okay, is misleading. Because under which law does the UPDF do what they have to do?
I know.
So now, if they cannot abide with the minimum laws that we have in the country, does legislation still sort of political challenges?
I agree with you, Honorable. 100%.
So those who are advocating for electoral reform, I've seen her here advocating for electoral reform in court, for where even in parliament, the whole thing. You see, let us concentrate efforts where it matters today, is to have political leverage and force the regime to either change the character of the regime. The problem now is no longer electoral or constitutional reforms. It's purely political. And you in civil society, you want to shy away from a political confrontation because you also want some levels of comfort and go into electoral reform, blah, blah. So me, I want to invite you. That's a wastage of time.
No, I agree with you, Honorable.
It's completely a wastage of time.
You didn't wait for my conclusion. Yes. So the president to keep talking about my biometric voting, when he has refused to implement reforms, even with a directive of Supreme Court, is to play mind games with the people.
Thank you. Honorable Mbidde, let's talk about the absurdity of DP fronting a candidate and forsaking him to the extent of him garnering a mere 100 votes. Shame.
First of all, you see, the Nigerians say, you know, they will never tell you that you are stupid. They will tell you that wisdom is chasing you, but you're running faster. For me, I have always held a view that the time is now for us to emerge as the opposition with one candidate everywhere. It is getting late. It is becoming almost unachievable. We are all chained, but most people misinterpret the chain is for jewelry. So my brothers who are now more powerful on the opposition, the chain looks like bling bling to them. So when you begin talking about this, they raise questions of veracity. How could we trust you? But you see, trust in terms of politics, you measure it using the public affair. that politics is a public affair. There is no way we can trust people. There are people you cannot trust. But somehow we must choreograph a process and a procedure of uniting. Now, the opposition has also developed others acting by way of gladiatorial circus. They feel like gladiators in their own description, even when they can only commandeer 2 constituencies or 4. Each one wants to be, and I can tell you at nomination, we are going to find many presidential candidates, most of whom have even been facilitated by the incumbent. Now, if you have got a situation like that Honorable Muwanga has described, of a candidate that doesn't want an election to be free and fair, he doesn't want to leave power. He is the one that appoints the person to count the votes. Now, whether these votes are by way of ballot papers or what Honorable Sala has been referring to as which other system?
Biometric.
Biometric. You see, even the biometric itself, we are talking about voters that have not held a pen for a whole year. Now you are telling them that they are now going to vote, but it is first of all going to look scientific to them. They look like cameras, they press their fingers and go away. This time, they are going to rig us in peace. They will not even need the police or the army. So we have not reached where there is no civic education. To the extent that you look at a candidate who is waiting to be taught on how to be aggrieved. Let me tell you. And this is just lack of civic education. The election, the Parliamentary Elections Act is very clear. It is, a petition is either by the loser of an election or a voter. We have a whole candidate telling us that this time it is the party. Now, and that SEC, at a level of chairman, they are aggrieved. So the grievances are going to now start flowing from top to bottom. And you can't accuse her.
Don't insult me, Mr.
I cannot
Mbidde.
insult you.
I've told you
But
that
I am
by
describing
law,
you.
we have several people that can be the petitioner. I was answering your question. And
Now-
you're telling me that I've told you that it's the NRM party. I've told you
you
within
see
the
how-
NRM party,
you
they'll
see-
select who the petitioner
You see
is
how
and wait
restless
for
you are
it.
becoming each time we are mentioning it. You know, they say
No,
an old woman is always uneasy when a
No.
bone is mentioned.
No.
Because she knows scientifically that probably she's all full of
You are
bones. And you could be
submitting
referring to
something
any
that
of
was
them.
not correct.
So, you are one of the best candidates we would have on the opposition for all intents and purposes. And I can tell you that you are not fit to be a tool of operation against anybody. You don't qualify. You qualify for very cerebral deployments. And this is something that I am advising you as a brother. Because you see, we must speak frankly, Simon, over these matters. So, government, we are now faced with a government that has...
I doubt you've responded to my question.
I'm getting
You
there.
fielded a candidate and abandoned him.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, but we want to take a break, yes.
And I gave an explanation on this station, but in the Luganda version. That first of all, for me, I fermented an idea, which I proposed to my party. That please, it is not real. It is foolhardy for each of us to field the candidate. We are only being destructive against our own people. To the extent that I think we should reach out to other political entities. Because this was a feeling of a vacant post that NUP lost. These are condolences, generally. It belonged to NUP and certainly on the opposition. My idea did not win. And you see, in the democracy, you see, they say that the majority determine and that's it. That is why we, as the political class, we are losing. Voters are so tired of us that they are now voting themselves.
Yeah, but I thought it's in the
And
interest of the party, by collective responsibility, for you to support your candidate.
In a situation
there was
where-
no Mbidde anywhere in Kawempe North.
I cannot go there because you see, for me, one, you would not see me supporting anybody because I don't want to be indisciplined against the party. But at the same time, I cannot be indisciplined against my conscience. So for me, those are things I cannot do. And clearly, it points to the fact
So
that
it was
I did.
unwise for DP to field a candidate.
it was foolhardy. When you say